Hey guys, Corpse Flood here with episode 3 of Corpse Flood's Game Flood. I'm really excited about this one. This is what I consider to be my single greatest pickup of all time in one deal. We'll get right into it. I'm super pumped. Alright, now this is what has got me so pumped. This is the greatest find and single pickup I have ever had in my entire life. I'm so pumped. Okay, before I show you guys any of this stuff, I gotta tell you the story. My buddy tried to tag me in this posting on a Facebook group that I'm not actually a part of, because it's more of a general area with 3 hours either way from the town I live in. And I was like, I'm not really looking to drive everywhere to buy stuff, kind of keep it local, then keep it so I'm not spending so much money or obsessing too much over stuff. And he tried tagging me in it, and I wasn't part of it, so he had to add me to the group. Then he told me about it, and he tagged me, told me the lady's name, and I looked it up, and I saw the time that it was posted at. It said it was posted 6 hours ago, so before I even broke my heart, I was like, oh man, these are gone. Before I got my hopes up, I was like, there's no way these are still available. But all right, I'll have a look anyway, because he showed me some pictures. He texted me some pictures before saying, oh yeah, did you get that? And I was like, no dude, I didn't see that. So apparently he'd been trying to tag me in it for a while. So then so I go and check these out, and lo and behold, I look, and there's a couple of posts of pictures of all these games, and for whatever miraculous reason, there was not one comment on it. And I still tried not to get my hopes up, because this was something immaculate and awesome that I know. I said right away, I was like, I'll take these. And then I tried private messaging the lady, because I figured someone's already private messaged her at least or something, because there's no way these are still up for grabs. And she gets back to me about 20 minutes later, and she's like, yeah, no one's talked about it yet, but as soon as I post it on there, I'll take these on this stuff. Of course, there was 10 other people like, I'll take these, I'll grab them right now. And so I messaged the lady and back, and I said, yeah, I'll take these, I'll take this, I'll take that. She's like, yeah, I got some other stuff I haven't really gotten to post yet. First of all, it was some Super Nintendo games, some ridiculous Super Nintendo games, and some PS2 games, and it was all killer, no filler. It was absolutely awesome. So without further ado, I'm gonna dive into this. I still can't believe this. I got this a long ass time ago, and I'm still so hyped up about this. Alright, first of all, I'll knock out of the random other stuff that she had kind of laying around. One NES game, King's Quest V. Super Nintendo cleaning cart. Nothing special there. Complete in-box copy of Metroid Zero Mission. I love my Metroid games, and I didn't even have the card of that, so I was super happy to get that. Dragon Quest IV for the DS. I already had that, but I thought I had a different one, so I was excited about it, but whatever. This ended up being such an awesome deal that's water under the bridge. Who really cares about that? Alright, getting to some PS2 stuff, which was one of the main things I did see. I'm going to keep the best till last. The Super Nintendo games will be last. But for GameCube, I got Skies of Arcadia Legends. I've been wanting this game for a long ass time. Pretty much since I found out there was a GameCube copy, not just the Dreamcast game. So I've been bugging my buddy incessantly to sell me his copy since he told me he had it. I was trying to trade him stuff. He wasn't going for it, so I was super pumped when I found that. And then I also got Baten Kaidos for the GameCube. That's all I ended up getting for GameCube. I actually told her when I messaged her that I would take some other GameCube games. There was Eternal Darkness and Tales of Game in there. So unfortunately I didn't get those, because one of the guys who post after, she saw their post before talking to me and told them they could add it. But after seeing this other stuff, I honestly didn't care at that point. It's kind of a bummer, but not a big huge deal. Moving on, I got Dot Hack Mutation, Dot Hack Infection. I have both those games already, but I actually didn't have the DVDs it comes with, so now I've got the complete set in there. I got Dark Cloud 2, which I already had, but it's an awesome game, so how could I not pick it up again? Castle Shikigami 2. One of the only games that's not an RPG in this list, but it's a cool shmup with awful voice acting, but you know, that adds to the charm. We've got Shadow Hearts and Shadow Hearts Covenant. A couple other awesome games. I already had the first Shadow Hearts, so it was cool to get the second part to it too. I didn't know there was a third part until recently, so now I'm going to have to go look for that. Next up we got Wild Arms Alter Code F. And then Wild Arms 3. I love my Wild Arms games, but actually those are the only two I own now. I've only had digital copies for the PS3 for a while. For some reason those games keep eluding me, so I'm gonna have to go for the rest of them. A buddy of mine has a couple other ones. He says he might be selling his PS2 stuff soon, even though he's got a pretty big game collection too. So I'm hoping he does. He's got a bunch of cool RPG stuff I'd like to get. Next up we got Wizardry Tales of the Forsaken Land. Legaia 2. I got Legend of Legaia for PS1, so I was really happy to find that. The Eternal Ring. Rogue Galaxy. Xenosaga Episode 1. I can find Episode 2 and 3 pretty quick here, so I can play through those ones. I'm excited to try those. We got Persona 3 FES. Persona 3, Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2. Can't wait to try that one out. Kingsfield, The Ancient City. Love the Kingsfield games. And then we got Grandia 2, Grandia 3, and Grandia Extreme. Grandia games are awesome too. If you ever get a chance, try those out. Alright, the last few games for the PS2 are Suikoden 3, 4, and 5. Just one of the best. I'm sure everyone knows by now that that is one of the greatest RPG series of all time. And next up, I was so super psyched to get this Suikoden 2. It's the most expensive one in the entire series, and before I even got a chance to really look for it, I found it. So, super pumped there. Alright, moving on to PS1 stuff. Got another copy of Azure Dreams. Another copy of Dragon Warrior 7. Excited about that. And here's where it really gets good. I mean, it's gotten pretty good already, but it gets even better. We got Kingsfield 2, Persona 2, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I actually didn't have that, so finally got that. Final Fantasy Origins. That includes Final Fantasy 1 and 2. That's pretty awesome. I actually didn't have that either. I thought I had all the PS1 Final Fantasy games. I'm only missing that one then. So now I've got them all. And to complete the collection, we've got Grandia 1. So in one fell swoop, I got the entire Grandia collection. This next one is a huge, exciting find for me. We got Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Well regarded by most people as the greatest Castlevania game of all time. I love it too, but there's a couple that I would let contest that, like Castlevania 4 or Castlevania Bloodlines. But that's just me. Everyone's got their own opinion. Next up, we got some other heavy hitters. We got Xenogears. Again, I've also been wanting for a super long time. Glad I finally got it. Next up is Thousand Arms. And one of these I had, and one of these was pretty much my most wanted game. We got Tales of Destiny 1. Awesome game. I already had that. And when I saw that, it got my hopes up about finding this Tales of Destiny 2. So psyched to get this. I'm such a huge Tales of fan, and I was just thinking I'm not paying 100 and whatever bucks that goes for it. I'm just not. I'm a collector, but I'm a cheap collector, so I was pretty much giving up on not finding that. So that made my day. I mean, all of this made my year, but that really icing on the cake. And so did these. I got Lunar Silver Story complete. A Silver Star, complete. And it's all in there. Everything's in there. And I also got Lunar 2 Eternal Blue complete set. So that was it for the PS1 and PS2 games and the other random little crap. And now the icing on the cake. This is what I originally saw and was trying not to get my hopes up about. We'll start small and go from there. We got Wizardry 6, Super Metroid, one of the all-time greats. I already had it, but I was happy to get that again. It's always a good trader. Ultima, The False Prophet. I love the Ultima series, so anyone I get, I'm happy to have. And then the rest came in these colorful, rental cases. But these are we're definitely never rentals. These are immaculate games. Secret of Evermore. I've been wanting that for a long time as well. And I love the price on these says 99 cents. If someone got these for 99 cents, ridiculous. Next up we got Final Fantasy 3. Another one I've wanted for a while. I know it's actually Final Fantasy 6, but I already had. Let's see if that one will last. We also got Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Eye of Beholder. Not sure, I've never really heard much about that game, but looking forward to trying it nonetheless. Next up, Final Fantasy 2 for Super Nintendo, which I already had, but this copy is actually in better shape than the one I had, so awesome. And here's the last two. These are the heavy hitters. We got Chrono Trigger. I already had Chrono Trigger, but the label on mine was pretty rough, which is kind of a bummer for a game I love so much. And so this was a much welcomed label upgrade. I was so pumped to see this, but at the same time I was like, no way that Chrono Trigger is not gone at least. And then the killing blow here. Got me a copy of Earthbound. So pumped. Never thought I'd own that game. I'm not paying $200 for any game. I'm not paying more than $80 unless it's a collector's edition. This was ridiculous. And I ended up paying the lady $250 for all of this. I have never gotten a deal this amazing. $250 sounds like a lot of money. When you sell stuff and it ends up not coming out of your pocket, it makes it seem like you got it all for free. It was the best thing ever. The lady even knew some of these games were worth money, but she was just like, well, if you buy a bunch of them, no big deal. She knew that Earthbound was worth money. I don't know why that was the one she looked up, because when most people don't know much about games, they'll look up the Mario games or something. But yeah, someone must have told her that Earthbound was worth money, but she didn't eBay it or Amazon it, or else I probably would have been screwed on that. But the best deal I've ever gotten. Most of those, I probably would have been paying $250 for one or two of those games. So I basically bought Earthbound and all these other games were free. Plus I sold bundles to buy this stuff because I didn't have the money at the time, and I ended up selling stuff like a madman. I sold an NES bundle, a PS1 bundle, a PS2 bundle, and a small Super Nintendo bundle. And I actually had money to spare after this. I thought that was pretty awesome. I did that within a day. So I went on and got this stuff. Actually, when we didn't really set a price, and I seen the PS2 stuff and the Super Nintendo stuff, so I was already had an idea in my head of what I was going to offer. And then she was like, oh, I didn't pull out the PS1 stuff. I haven't put it up yet. And I was like, oh, I'd love to have a look at that. And that's where I got all these other games from. Amazing. And her father apparently was a very big gamer, and he had passed away, which is a real shame because I think this guy would have been my best friend. We, I just sat there and looked through stuff forever. And then she's like, oh, I also got some Sega Genesis games. She'd mentioned to me when I was talking to her when I first started contacting her. I was like, oh, cool, I'll see that. And she actually didn't show me the pictures. She said she's going to, when I got there, they were actually Sega Saturn games. And they were some pretty heavy hitters, but she knew the worth of most of them. I'm not really big into Sega Saturn as much as I love my RPGs. They were all RPG games. I should have grabbed them, but I honestly didn't. It was kind of too late for that because she had taken pictures of those, and another collector from a couple hours away was like coming down to buy basically everything else she had. So it's a good thing she hadn't mentioned the PS1 games because those would have been a loss. But I still got made out like a bandit. But the one thing that was a real shame, she had on the back of her couch, she had Panzer Dragoon Saga's case, and she's like, yeah, check this out. And she opened it up, there was no discs in it. She's like, yeah, we used to have a Sega Saturn, but I don't see it out there with anything else. So someone must have stole it with that game in it. And I'm like, well, if they stole it with a game in it, it would have only been one disc. But I was just like, oh man, that really sucks. Someone definitely must have known what it was worth and jacked it. And then when she brings in the PS1 box, all the games, every game here is in immaculate shape. It looks like it's never been touched. There's no fingerprints. There's no scratches of any kind. The labels are in amazing condition. So I was like, I don't know. When I was looking through the box, so I could just look at the side of all the cases and kind of read what was all there. And then I saw 4 just generic CD cases with no side labels, which was really out of the ordinary for this guy's collection. And I pull out the 4 discs, and it's the 4 discs for Panzer Dragoon Saga. The one thing that was a big bummer was that she was like, yeah, I'm bummed out because I played these games with my dad and stuff, but none of them really hold any, nostalgia value to me or anything really. Like, I don't really mind letting them go. This was my favorite game, she said. And she's like, I was so bummed because I was actually going to play it. And it was like my favorite game to play with my dad. Him and I played this for hours and hours. And I was like, oh yeah, that sucks. So then when I was going through and I saw the discs, I had this, just definitely this big battle of conscience. I was like, man, I really want this game. I would get a Sega Saturn to play this game. And I just picked up the discs, and she wasn't even looking at me, and she was just basically like, just going through other stuff or whatever, because she was selling a bunch of stuff. And I just pulled the discs out, and I just looked at them for a second. I was like, man, I can't do it. I'm not a piece of shit like that. I was like, I can't take this lady's favorite game. And even knowing what it was worth, I was like, you know what, I'm better than that. She's giving me an awesome deal. She's been a really nice lady. Her daughter was very nice to me too. And I was like, man, I can't do it. So my inner collector was like, oh, what are you doing, man? But I was like, hey, look what I found. And she was so happy that I was like, all right, cool, I did the right thing, Karma was being good to me and giving me these good games and all this stuff. And it did hurt, but, maybe some other time I'll come across it for cheap. But it would have definitely been the biggest score being a $700 game. But whatever. As long, I did give her, she does know how to contact me. I said, maybe when you beat it. She's like, yeah, I think I'll actually end up looking for a Sega Saturn. And I said, if you beat it, maybe give me a call about it. I'll buy it off you. And she's like, okay. So maybe I'll get a deal on it again someday. But yeah, that really hurt. But with all this other stuff, it definitely padded the blow. So a lot of you are going to be rolling your eyes like, how could you give up that good of a deal? But you know what? I can do it. Because she didn't even look through the PS1 games when I piled them up. She's like, oh yeah, those are the ones you want? Yeah. And I said, okay, would you do $250 for all this? And she didn't fight back at all. She's like, you know what? Yeah. It kind of hurts with the I know Earthbound's worth some money, but whatever. You seem like it's all going to a good place, and that's what my dad would want. So I was like, awesome. Also, I forgot that she gave me a bunch of the booklets when I was leaving, and I got some stuff for games that weren't in there. I got Golden Sun, Super Nintendo instruction manual, coverless booklet for Final Fantasy 3. Still cool to have either way. Manual for Wizardry 6. A manual for Eye of the Beholder, missing the cover. Super Metroid in immaculate shape. Ultima in a good shape. The art book for Suikoden 5. And the art book for Persona 3. And also the guide for Earthbound, which is pretty awesome to find too. I'm not big into guidebooks, but that's a cool one to own. Alright. So that's about it, except for the one final big one. And we'll get right into that here soon in a minute. Just want to get some other stuff out of the way here. As you know, I got kids, and I'm also a huge Ghostbusters fan, so there's a couple of toys I actually picked up lately. I'll show them to you now. With the new movie coming out, and really being kind of a bummer, some good came of it. They ended up re-releasing a set of the original Ghostbusters, so I got Peter, Ray, Winston, Gun. A buddy, actually I was on vacation, it was during my moving week, and a buddy of mine messaged me when those came in, and he's like, check this out, and he knows how big of a fan I was, so I was like, okay, be right there. Got my whole family up at like 8:30 in the morning, and we drove down there and bought them, because they only got 2 full sets, so had to snag them, and we haven't gotten them back, so I'm glad that we went out and got those. And then recently a couple more things came in. We got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man with his burn marks there. And also got this cool Slimer guy. My 3-year-old Avison is a huge fan of this thing, because of course it makes sounds. It plays a song here. So that was pretty awesome, and she also likes to pull on his tongue. I had to get that front up my TV, but I think I might have to get another one because she's that huge of a fan of it. And then while we were there grabbing that stuff, actually I'm not big into the Funko Pops, but I saw that they had gotten some Fallout ones in. So I got the Power Armor, the Lone Wanderer, and Vault Boy. They were pretty, I love my Fallout, so I thought that'd be something cool to put on the wall here. And also, as fans on the Facebook page might know, we Araya and I build lots of Lego stuff, and this is a new set that came out with Ghost Rider and Hobgoblin and Spider-Man, and those are some of my favorites, so can't wait to build that with Araya. Alright, moving on, we got a couple other little odds and sods here. I noticed with all these other games I've been getting, I wasn't really getting very much new stuff for my 3DS. So I picked up a couple new titles right around the time they came out, maybe a week or two after, but some pretty good ones. We got Bravely Second, End Layer. I was a huge fan of Bravely Default. It was one of the most gripping games I played on the 3DS so far. It was I couldn't put it down once I picked it up. I just kind of threw it in for something to play for a quick 10 minutes one day, and I ended up just forsaking everything and just playing it until I was through it. It was quite the journey, so I'm hoping this one holds up to that one and is at least as good as it, hopefully better. And the next two are from one of my top favorite series right now. We got Fire Emblem Fates Birthright and Fire Emblem Fates Conquest. Huge fan of Fire Emblem. I've got every single one of them that's come to North America. I've got a couple of Super Famicom titles, and I've also got repros of all the Super Nintendo ones. So I'm a huge fan, and I'm glad to have all the North American ones complete in box, and I'm keeping the tradition going by picking those up. Another big series to me is Zelda, and I picked up Hyrule Warriors Legends. I liked Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, and I like the added characters and stuff with this. Unfortunately, I don't have the new 3DS, and I heard that this runs kind of crappy on the traditional 3DS XL, so might be time to upgrade in the near future. Stay tuned, I'll probably have one in the upcoming pickup video. Another quick trade I did. I traded a buddy an extra copy of Legend of Dragoon, and from that I got Vagrant story. I remember playing a little bit of this back in the day when it was still pretty new, and liking it a lot, so I'm happy to pick that up and add it to the set as well. Another thing I picked up, not really video game related, but this is a channel of all types of nerdiness, comic books and all that, horror movies and stuff like that. I ended up picking up Batman the Killing Joke, the Blu-ray Collector's Edition. As you can see, it comes with a little Joker figure there. One of my favorite Batman stories, a great graphic novel. I've watched the movie. It's got kind of a tacked on story at the beginning that doesn't really add to the actual Killing Joke story. It's alright. It's kind of like it's got a Batman animated series feel, and it kind of follows Batgirl more than Batman. It's up in the air how I really feel, but I think I'm going to give it another shot before I pass judgment. The Killing Joke part from the graphic novel, though, is pretty spot on. They didn't change it too much, so I'm glad that they held true to that. It looks pretty good. It's it's not as good as the original art, but it's pretty close. Better than a lot of animated stuff is nowadays. As much as I love Batman the Animated Series, I actually hated the way it was animated. It seemed like right around the time that show came out, all the comic book artists got kind of lazy and started drawing stuff all disproportioned with like the skinny triangular bodies and all that kind of stuff, and that's always kind of bugged me because I like the more realistic looking comic book heroes and stuff like that. I know before that they were like overly muscular and all that, and I didn't really care for that too. I just like something realistic looking, and helps me get more into the story. And I don't like realizing it's a cartoon. I like to just be immersed in a story like that. Anyway, moving on. When I was ordering some stuff from AliExpress, I noticed they also carried figures and statues and stuff like that, and I picked myself up the Figma Link figure. He's pretty cool. He's multiposable. He has different faces and hands you can attach to him. He comes with this cool little stand-up base, so you can put him in all types of cool action poses. Being a big Link fan, that was an immediate buy for me. He was nice and cheap. I think he was like $20, $22, something like that. Free shipping. And yeah, I've seen him other places and they were wanting like $60 for the exact same thing. The only weird thing is though, when it showed up, the character was outside of the box and it's like plastic, but the box was flat in the box that it was in. I've never seen something like that. Good thing I was planning on opening it anyway, but like here's the box. Yeah, and it came totally flat like an envelope when I got there. You can see more of what he's capable of here. There's different poses. He's got a couple different faces. He's got like a calm face and I don't know, like a war cry face. He's pretty cool guy. The only problem I had was the hands seemed kind of wimpy. Actually, to get him to hold his shield was a real ordeal. It seemed like I had to the little handle part for the shield that goes over his arm, it let go when I was putting it on him the first time, and I had to fight to get it to stay on. I thought I was gonna have to glue it. I finally got it on. Thankfully, I don't think I ever want to take it out of his hand because who knows if I'll get it back in there. But all in all, I think it was a pretty cool, solid pickup for $20. Whew. That about does it for episode 3. What did you guys think? I was pretty stoked to get all that stuff. What's your favorite out of all those? A lot of good ones to choose from. Some obvious picks. Maybe pick a more obscure one. Let me know what you think. What your experiences are with some of these. I can't wait to dig into this pile of games. Alright, as usual, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.